Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the call. I would love to know for those of you that maybe it has been a while since you've been on these calls or it was your first time. How was the rest of your day? Did you notice anything different from starting your day with these calls or listening to the recording? Maybe you listened to the recording, or perhaps for you, you're in a different time zone. Kate Williams, I see you. I'm so happy to have you here. Maybe you're in a different time zone, and for you, it's a little bit later when you're listening to it. But I'm curious as to know, was there an impact that you are aware of in the rest of your day? Marion says, huge. How I viewed the world, my opportunities. Yes. Julie said, I noticed I was much more present in my thinking of who I'm being. Yes. Vicky says, fantastic. I saw beauty throughout the day, starting with a fresh cut bouquet of flowers from my mom's garden. Beautiful. So, what it sounds to me, what I'm hearing is that many of you were much more present. Actually, you can't, like, weren't even much more present. You were present. Betty says, I did more than I have done. Oops. I have more than I've done in a week, stuff that I've been putting away. Yes. And I promised you that that was a possibility here. That was a possibility. Another person says, yes, I was focused on myself and my work. I love that. And if that is you, could you please put your first name and your first and last name on so that we can know who it is? Michelle says, yes, tried to keep that energy that day. Mindfulness, got lots done. Kate Williams says, and it felt easy. Kim says, everything felt clearer and I was so productive. Shelley, understanding that only I need to change to impact my future. Audrey, good morning, Hina and everyone. I was focused on small wins. So, congratulations and thank you for contributing in the chat. For those of you that did, thank you all for being here today. This is the whole point of it. The whole point of what we do, why we get here, why we start these calls and start our days, it's to put you in a peak state. And what I'm saying, it's not just what I think to be true, what I hope to be true. This is backed by research and science. And more than that, this is backed by results that I've seen in my own life and those of my clients, that there it is truly life changing. Because imagine what you said and now compound that. Imagine what would it, if that's what it felt like for one day, what would it feel like for a week, what would it feel like for a month? So the point is that we want to put ourselves in a peak state. And when we put ourselves in a peak state, what happens is we are operating from that peak state. If we are not operating from that peak state, we are operating from our default. We are operating from our standards. Now, this is something that oh my gosh, can I just say there's so much that I want to get to today? There's so much that I want to say, but it's going to be the most perfect call and we're going to allow it to unfold. But I'm already like just buzzing here because when we put ourselves in a peak state, it's like we're making different decisions and we are operating from our highest self. And I'm not saying like higher and lower as a kind of something around morality, like one is better. It's just different, right? And it's a lot, we're aligning with our goal. And so now we're operating from that place. And when we think of Neville's work that we talked about yesterday, we talked about that we are the arrangement of what we believe and consent to be as true. So what I want you to do on these calls is you decide. You decide what you believe and consent to be as true, and then you meet your day. You create your day from that place. You create yourself as a partner if you're in a relationship from that place. You create yourself as a parent if you're a parent from that place. You create yourself as a business owner, as an employee. You create yourself as a being from that place, and then your doing comes from that. And what we want to do is we want to be in that place because that's the place where there's the opportunities, where we can see opportunities, where there's possibilities. So most people wake up and they live their default life, the life of the automatic programming, the life that is small, the life that they've created to be small so that they can manage their world. And I know, look, every single person on this call is successful. Every single person. I have worked with people that are just starting out to clients that I've had that have nine figure companies and beyond. And sometimes people come to me and they're like, Hina, I love this. And I'm already working with a coach. And I'm like, that is great. This is going to add to what you're doing. There's something so special about this because you're creating yourself and you're able then to take on all the opportunities, all the other people that you may work with, the other things that you're involved in. You're able to experience it in a higher state because you're not on your default programming. So one of the things that we talked about yesterday on the Tuesday call, which I friggin' loved, was, as I said, you're all successful. There's no doubt in my mind that you are all successful people. And one of the things I asked my clients, I said, like, who here would consider themselves a good driver for those that drive? And many people put up their hands, and I was like, beautiful. And I said, even as a good driver, are you aware that you have blind spots and you've got to check your blind spots? Right? And they were like, yes. So you can be good at something, you can be good at what you do, and you still have blind spots. And that's the purpose of what we do here every single day, is for you to step into more of who you are. And at that level, there's other blind spots. It's kind of like whatever brought you to the level that you're at right now is not going to be the same things that will take you to your next level. Or, if I may be honest with you, what brought you to your current level won't even be where you will find the solution to your current problems at this level. So really, what is it that we do? How are you able to tackle more in a day than you do in a week? How are you able to have crucial conversations? How are you able to show up from a new place? It is because what we're doing is we're showing you, and you are being powerful. Being powerful is a distinction, being powerful in your life. And when we are powerful in our life, it's when we can be powerful in uncertainty. And we are powerful in uncertainty when nothing needs to change beyond us. We don't need external conditions to change to be okay, to be happy, to be where we are, to be here now. That is being powerful in your life. Being powerful in your life is being present. Yesterday on the Tuesday call, gosh, we did this whole friggin' amazing exercise on being on the listening that we are. And we did a role playing, we did sort of this exercise around listening to get present to how you listen, because powerful leaders are more than powerful speakers. Powerful leaders are powerful listeners. And you are a leader. There's aspects in your life where you are a leader. You don't need somebody to give you that title. You don't need to have it on your bio on LinkedIn. You are a leader. You need to accept this and show up in that way and be powerful in that way. So being powerful requires taking powerful action, being unreasonable. Being powerful requires powerful listening. And being powerful is being where you are in the present and being grounded in the present, regardless of what's happening outside of you. It's being powerful in uncertainty. And so when you create your day from that place of being powerful, then life is going to life. Things are going to happen. An email's going to pop in that you didn't expect. Someone's going to say no, someone's going to say yes to something. You're going to be out in the world, but you're not going to be out in the world from your default programming, from your standards, and even from your standards of last year. Today, I'm going to be meeting with my inner circle. Some people in this inner circle are from a previous year as well. They're beyond even that previous inner circle version of them. So being powerful is very different than thinking about being powerful. Being powerful is very different than hoping and wishing to be powerful. There's a set of actions. And many of you moved into actions yesterday that you were putting off, that you did from the beingness on this call. And that's an example of actions that are consistent with a certain way of being. Now, we're always our actions are consistent with a certain way of being. Can I go further with this? I haven't even looked at the chat. I'm just like, what? Okay. Can I go? Thank God we started the call when we did. Okay. I loved what Hollis said yesterday on the call. Okay, let me just pause here for a moment. Take a sip of my coffee from my Catherine Marr mug. Okay. You're hearing me say things about Inner Circle. You're hearing me say things about Tuesday calls. And obviously, you're on this call. And you might be wondering, Hina, I just want to know more about what you do. Anybody wondering that as I say these things? I just want to know a little bit more. Like, what happens other than you getting all fired up in the morning? Okay, Wendy says yes. Okay, so tomorrow, I'm not going to talk about it today, but tomorrow, Daphne, and for those of you from 7 to 7:30, or we'll wrap up earlier. I'm gonna open up my fleet of programs to you of what is available. So it will be after this call. So please stay on if it's available to you to stay on. And if you want to learn more, you can stay on from 7 to 7:30. And that's when we can shop. And you can see, oh my gosh, I love this. This is really resonating with me, this program, or this is what I would love. So we can shop. Um, Tomorrow from 7 to 7:30. I will let you know it's open. Now, we've already had some people join, like Natasha. So if you're like, I don't even want to wait, I just need to know, then please reach out to Mario. You'll see that he has HKW team beside his name, and he can support you in answering any questions if you want to know anything sooner. And then finally on Friday, I'm going to do a full Q&A call, Q&A with some hot seat coaching, but Q&A, even more Q&A about what we do. And that will be on Friday, a bonus call. Okay. So Hollis, Hollis was, so yesterday on the call, I thought Hollis put this in such a beautiful way. Previously, Hollis was not a runner. And because she was not a runner and she had thoughts about running, she was not being a runner. She was being, I'm not a runner. She made a decision. And I know somebody asked me, I think it was you, Wendy, that asked me to talk about decision, and I will either today or tomorrow. Um, she asked me about, no, sorry. So Hollis then made the decision to be a runner because she was like, I'm going to start running. So now there's a new belief and there's a new way of being because now she's being a runner. Well, if we had a camera and we were watching Hollis, we would see that she was being a runner because what would we see Hollis doing? What would we see Hollis doing if she decided to run and she's being a runner? She would be running. Now, are you seeing me running? No, you're not seeing me being a runner because I didn't make the decision and I didn't commit to being a runner. So I am not being a runner. And Hollis says, and also resisting running, but doing it anyways. This is a very important point because being a runner looks like saying to yourself, sometimes depending on your being a runner can look like, I don't feel like running today. Now you see, again, me, do I have those thoughts? No. Why do I not have those thoughts? Because I'm not being a runner. Now, I'd made a commitment to do a certain amount of Pilates class and I was being a commitment to my Pilates. And so there were many, every morning, I would say about 8 out of 10 mornings, I would wake up saying, I don't want to go. But what did you see? You saw me being my commitment, so you would see me going. What you would see in my drawers that might not be in your drawers because you're not being somebody that goes to Pilates, what you'll see in my drawers are grip socks. So now think about your goal. Think about what it is that you want. Claire, think about for you. You made a move yesterday in harmony, or over the last couple of days that was in harmony with your goal that you shared with us. My 3D seatmate, 3D 3F, that's what we were in, Claire. And so there's a way of being Claire. So that action, Claire, came from being powerful. So if all of you think of your goal now, I want you to think about, if a camera was in your house, would they see the beingness of that, or are you still detached from it? And Claire says, yes, I just was it. And I know that Claire has a son, she has a partner, just like she is a mother and doesn't have to remind herself every day that she is a mother. She's being mother. Are you guys getting this? And we do this. And if you really want to make this something that is just so powerful in your life, you add integrity into the mix. Now, integrity is when we are whole, complete, in sound, perfect condition. And one of the things that, and again, not morality. I'm not saying that there's good or bad. You know, what's funny is that Audi, who is on our team, reminded me the other day, because as you know, yesterday was my birthday, and he sent me a note. And he said, Hina, when we began the year, you said that your word for the year was integrity. I'd forgotten that because we'd all kind of shared what our word was on the team. And he reminded me of that. And he was just sharing that he was seeing that. And it's so interesting because I would say that that is absolutely true, that I chose that word and then the opportunities showed up for me to be that. So one of the ways that we are in integrity is honoring our word. And what we want to look at, what we want to get present to is what what gets in the way of that? Like, what is it that becomes more important than honoring our word? What is it that becomes more important than honoring our word? Now, honoring our word, I want you to understand that sometimes we may commit to something and then we realize that we are unable to do it. It does not mean that we necessarily do it, that life is going to life. But what we do is we clean it up with whoever we need to clean it up with as soon as we realize that. Yeah. So, uh, Aritzia, I hope I'm saying your name right, says that fear, doubt, worry are things that come in the place of honoring your word. I want self-protection, Shelley says. I want to go further with this and I want you to get specific. Um, you want to really think of this also specifically for you. Self-protection, yeah, like doubt about what gets in the way of honoring your word, right? Here's what I want to tell you. It's really falling to your old standards and autopilot. It's your habits. And you're not going to be able to rise above your habits unless you make a decision to. And that's what these calls are all about. Procrastination, yeah. Self-sabotage, Kelly, gets in the way. Also, sometimes, many times, we will, um, sometimes, many times, we will It'll come back to me. It just slipped. Uh, doubt that I'm good enough filling my granny's shoes. Okay, she's transitioned, she's passed on from cancer. Fear of what other people thinks. Yeah, that's a big one. Oh, here's what I was going to say. Sometimes and I want to think of just not again, we want to start with where do we have access? The next time, here's the first thing I want you to do. The next time somebody says to you, "Hey, do you want to get together?" and you know that you have no desire to and that you won't, say no in that moment. Don't say yes because you're afraid to say no and then spend the rest of the time until that time thinking about how you're going to get out of it. What is going to be the excuse? Okay, I want to say something that is from Neville. I don't know where this is from. It's in my notes. So this just has to do with the being piece of it. I became conscious of being it. So I became conscious of being it. I am still conscious of being it. And I shall continue to be conscious of being it until that which I am conscious of being is perfectly expressed. Yes, I shall decree a thing and it shall come to pass. So when you think of your goals, like Sharon has books that are in the process of being published right now that she is writing, these best-selling books. I mean, everyone should know Sharon Gordon. She is, oh, such an incredible person. And I have to thank Mitzi for introducing us to her and her to us. So when you think of your goal, that thing, that desire you have, you become conscious of being it. Like there's not, you've got to become conscious of being it, that your beliefs and concepts of yourself are a match to the person that has it, right? And then you are still conscious of being it. And let's even take Hollis's example of running. Like, let's bring this down to being so simple. I became conscious of being a runner. I am still conscious of being a runner. And I shall continue to be conscious of being a runner until which I am conscious of being is perfectly expressed. So what happens is our what we are conscious of being is perfectly expressed when that becomes our new unconscious way of being. Because it is as natural to us as for those of you that are parents that, oh, where you don't have to think about it, where Claire said, I was it. Is this landing with anybody? So do you get that? Yes, I shall decree a thing and it shall come to pass. Yeah, Julie says yes, but we'll have to re-listen. I mean, listen, for those of you um that signed up for these calls, you get the recordings, and I want to tell you, you want to listen to this again. You're going to hear it differently. There are things that you're going to pick up that you're going to hear differently. And I want you to know that everything that I'm saying to you is specifically about you. I am not talking about anybody else. I am only talking about you. And you want to think like, how do I apply this to me? Hina is talking specifically to me. I may not be a runner, but where is being so natural in my life that I can see it? Where can I see that I'm being something now that I wasn't before? How can I apply this to myself? This was how I created me, even when I first thought of seven figures, even. I looked at, okay, what are they doing? How do they think? So I would listen to interviews, and then I started mixing with people at that level, and it was different. There were They had different ways of being even around money. The way they talked about money was very different. They had different habits. As I said, I learned this routine and the way to study, which is what we're doing right now. Although I haven't even opened up a book yet, this has all been just what I felt, what was bubbling up inside of me from my mentor and dear friend at, Bob Proctor. And so i- there's a ways of being that are connected to your goal that you don't know yet. So you have to put yourself in the environment to find out. It's not going to be in your current environment. It's not going to be in your current circle necessarily. Sahar says, what if it's something aspirational, not something we are naturally? Sahar, if you can give me a specific example or just tell me exactly what it is, then I can definitely help you with that. So, what do you want to create for yourself? What do you want to create for yourself? Claire says, I went and sat in my Rolls Royce to see how I felt in it. The pictures weren't enough. Yes, I love that. Now she's created an emotional connection to her subconscious, taking it deeper. It's not a when I'm in the car, she's been in the car. So what Neville says, now I just want to get to a bit of the study here, and we're going to interweave everything, is that a person's chief delusion is their conviction that there are causes other than their own state of consciousness. So it's a delusion that there are causes uh, other than their own states of consciousness. So I'm going to go to Sahar's question here, but I want to leave you with something also to think about right now. What in your life being the cause of the effect look like? So if we go to Hollis as a runner, there was a change in her consciousness. And and in that change of consciousness, the cause was being a runner, and the effect is running. The effect is signing up for 5K, 10K marathons. And so just something else I want to say about the being. So when Hollis decides this, and then she's being a runner, she's putting it into her calendar. Now her world must organize around this as well. She's got kids, a partner. She's got to let them know they may want to come, create signs, cheer her on. She may have other family members that she tells and they want to come. So now they're putting it in their calendar. Sahar says, I struggle to make decisions and literally all goals depend on making decisions. What state of my being, what state of being am I and need to become? Beautiful. So you are being indecision. So good, Sahar. You're not alone. This was a question that came in around decisions. You are being indecision. And you're expressing that in your world all the time. All the time. In things that may be inconsequential, in things that may feel like it's a bigger decision. And so what you want to do, yes, it's like you've got to decide. What we talked about here was this idea of you've got to train yourself into a new life. So many times we are scared of making decisions, but it's not about, we think, oh, I'm scared I'm going to make the wrong decisions. You're going to be fine. So here's the thing. everything is for our growth. So there are no wrong decisions. But there's something more underneath that, Sahar. And when, because I know this was your question too, underneath making decisions. And it's not that you're scared to make the wrong decision. I want to invite you as a possibility to think that there's something specific for you that you are scared of in making decisions. And I want you to tell me what that is. Change is always difficult to grasp, Veronique says, for you. And I say that with love, Veronique, because there's many people where change isn't difficult to grasp. There was a version of me where change was difficult to grasp. Right. So what we want to know is that these are, so even that, that comes from our logic. So Sahar, I have trouble making decisions. What's underneath that? What are you afraid of? Being stuck. I'm going to say there's even more underneath that. What are you afraid of? What's beneath that? What's beneath the idea of being stuck? And I understand. That can make sense. Like, yes, if I make this decision, then I'm kind of stuck and I have to do it this way, or I've now committed to this way. And that's a big thing for many people, but there's even more underneath that. Someone says fear of being hurt or being in a worse situation, being incompetent. Yeah, and if I can offer something that may seem, again, so simplistic that it's like, no, that's not it. I want to encourage you to listen without your sea of opinions and from a place of possibility. Fear of looking bad. And I know that may sound strange, but it can truly stop us because we think, oh, I'm going to be stuck. I'm going to be with this decision. But it's like when we're making a decision, it can feel like we're exposing ourselves and we have a fear of looking bad. I invite you to think of that as being in the mix. So Claire says the only way a decision stays with me is if it comes from my heart and what I would really love. But and Claire, the only way you can know that is by making a decision. So we can't make a decision saying, I hope that this is what I really, really love. You'll know that you get that feedback in making the decision. And you want to know that, and Claire, I'm sure you feel this, that even in the decisions that you were like, you know what, didn't really love that. That's part of life's tuition. Especially when there's money attached to the decision. It's like, okay, that was part of me learning something. You learned, we can even learn what we don't like in making decisions, which brings us closer to what we do like. But we've got to get over ourselves. Yeah, Shelley, don't you love that life's tuition? I've had lots of life tuition. Okay, so that was the investment for that lesson. Beautiful. I've learned it now. So true, Rachel. As you move, you know more. Uh, Veronique says, my fears of failure, I struggle with that. And I've realized it is a pattern that I've developed since childhood. Yes, you're absolutely right. And thank you for your courage to put that in the chat because it's a pattern from childhood that's getting acted out now. In childhood, there was a reason that it was created and it made sense. It's just that it doesn't make sense anymore. In fact, I'll be talking about this on a national show called Breakfast Television in Canada on Friday. I will be on at 8:40 talking very much about this. And one of the things I will be talking about is around fear and how it stops us from doing things. But this idea of a car alarm, a car alarm, the tone, the pitch, the sound, like it's all the same, whether it is being broken into or you just pressed a wrong button. The intensity is not is the same. And that's the way it can be for us. We can have this feeling of fear. The intensity feels like fear, but we're not in danger, and we're responding from something from childhood to something that is happening now. We're giving the response from childhood. We're responding as if we're in danger or there's a problem. And then when the issue with this is that we then don't go for things, and we're at our grave being indecision. And you know where indecision lives? Indecision lives in the stands of life. You don't see indecision on the court. On the court, when you're in a game and you're on a court, you're playing a game, you've got to make decisions. A ball is being passed to you. You don't have time to think, oh, do I want to take the ball? Do I not want to take the ball? How do I look? Am I in the, like, you're moving. So if you want to get out of the stands of life, start making decisions and start with wherever your access point is. Even when you're going to do things that you do regularly and that's on autopilot for you, I want you to do it in a different way. So if you're going to go grab a coffee today, Sahar, when anybody else who this can resonate with this, ask yourself, what would I love? What do I prefer today? As opposed to falling to your automatic Americano with 2 pumps of this and 1 pump of that and a splash of that and a suspicion and a whisper. Ask yourself, what do I want? Claire, you got to be on the court in life. Claire says such a good analogy. Think about who we are being when we're being in the stands. We're being an observer. We're being judgmental. We're being critical. We're being distracted. We're being not present. But when you're on the court and in the game, you're in action. You're moving in action. You're in life. And for those of you that always feel like I need to research, I need to learn more, it's a story. It's a story to keep you in the being of indecision. It's a story to keep you in the being of I don't know enough. It's a story. And that's affecting your life because you're living your story. You're living what you believe and consent to be as true. Neville says, all that befalls a person, all that is done by them, all that comes from them happens as a result of their state of consciousness, not the economy, not what others will think, not if you're in the right industry, not if you were born into the right family. A state of consciousness. A person's consciousness is all that they think and desire and love, and all that they believe is true and consent to. Oh, Shelley, come on. Come on, Shelley. Is this what you're going to drop? Wow. Listen to what Shelley put in the chat. God bless you, Shelley. Shelley put, this story used to keep me safe. Now it just keeps me the same. Amen to that. Amen to that. And Shelley, if you're somebody that feels tired, Oh, like you feel tired. So many of us, we feel tired at the end of the day. We're exhausted. And it's not like we've been, unless you do, out there doing physical manual labor. It's because we're not this free flow. We're holding on to stories that keep us the same. It's the resistance. It's resistance that has us feeling exhausted. Sharon says, Hina, I really like the being of what you think and consent to be is true. I am being a best selling author and I am living it. Sharon, you are a best selling author and you are like, that is what your life is. Can I share something with you? I hope Anushri's going to, oh man, can we see if Anushri can come on the call, Charmaine or Tara on what day? On Friday? I would love that. I've been thinking about her so much. So Anushri is an award-winning uh producer, writer, actor who now lives in LA. But she was being this before she lived in LA. And she's working right now on the most incredible projects and shows. And it's from this. She sent me this note. Oh, where is she here? Beautiful. She says, oh, there were okay, I'm going to read this one. The other one, I'll see if she wants, if she's for permission. But she says, here I'm sitting on a plane going back to Vancouver after visiting my family for 48 hours. After I got dropped off by a chauffeur to the airport. After Vancouver is wrapped, I'm going back to LA to start working on an AMC show. And this whole time you're on my mind. You're saying to me, it is that easy and effortless. Thank God I know how to receive. Prosperity is my divine nature. You've taught me so much. Adore you. I want to tell you something that these are messages I receive every day. And when I receive them, I love them, but I'm not surprised by them. Like what is happening for her now is simply a natural expression of who she's being. So Sharon, when you're sending me your book autographed, or you're at your book launch, or your book is now made into a movie, which Mitzi is involved in, I am going to give you the biggest hug and be there beaming, front row seat, and I will not be surprised. I will be delighted. Like it's just delightful to be with you. But this, of course, like this is natural. It's a natural expression of who you've been being. You are the cause in your effect. It is so simple, but not easy because we've got piles and piles and piles and piles and piles of story. And it's not easy because it can be challenging to face. You've got to do this with grace and love for yourself. I admire each and every one of you because so many of us, we live in this world where there is something on the ground and we just want to step over it. We don't want to deal with it or clean it up. And we have this whole friggin' life scattered with all this stuff that we have stepped over that are all energetic leaks that we haven't dealt with or cleaned up. Claire says, Hina, I think the disconnect for most people is how to be and how would that grandest version of myself be. Absolutely, Claire. Absolutely. And so this is why, Claire, we all have different access points, which is why whether I'm working with the person that has a nine figures business or the person that is just, you know, moving on a dream or coming in here for personal reasons, for their relationships, it's like whatever your access point is where we start. Is where we start. And it's kind of what can you be conscious of? So what would be a version of you? And it could just be a few things that you would tweak that would make a difference that you're doing now. And it could just be realizing, there's some things that I do now that I would not be doing now. So for me, Claire, one of the things was, and again, I didn't know the whole picture, but one of the things was a morning routine. I was like, well, I think the person with the goal or the person that I aspire to be, they control their mornings. They, if I look at the people that I admire, like Bob and others, I mean, he's in his 80s. He does not have to be doing this. He's got millions and millions of dollars, but he's still learning and growing and studying. And so for me, it was like, okay, this is something that I can do. And this opened up. So this was a way of being that was in alignment with my goal. Then it was also finding community that was in harmony with my goal. So you just take whatever your access point is right now. How are we for time? Don't even know. Okay. So this is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. So whenever there's something that I desire, I know that I can receive it, or I know I can have it because I know that I am aware and consciously aware of it. So it's possible. I know it as a possibility. One of the things I also think about is having is to be conscious around enlarging my capacity to receive. And when I say enlarging my capacity to receive, I'm really talking about enlarging my capacity to receive all the good. Can I have it that good? Can it be great in my business? Can I wake up and be with the most incredible people every day, Monday to Friday? I'm here. Can I have beautiful relationships with my boys as teenagers? Can I have an incredible relationship with my husband and we'll be married 30 years in January? Can I create mind-blowing financial abundance? Can I be supported? Can I, like, this was something you've got to come to terms with. Are you going to allow yourself to have it good in all areas? I didn't have this belief before. I wasn't operating from this way. I was operating that if it was good in my professional life, there had to be drama and complications in my personal life. Because what was I going to do? When people asked me how life was I just going to say it's good everywhere? How will that look? I don't want people to think that I'm bragging and that I have such a great life. There's got to be some place where it's a problem so I can be relatable. I had to get over myself. It's a decision. And it's only one that you can make for yourself. But I'm telling you, yesterday before the call, before our Tuesday call, um, Charmaine was on the call and she's like, Hina, happy birthday. And, hope you're having such a great day. And I was just like, Charmaine, look at what we get to do. Like, we were talking about yesterday, and I was like, we have people that woke up at 3 in the morning to be on the call with us. Like, come on. Wow. And all of you that were on the call yesterday. And then I'm able to do the Tuesday calls, which I friggin' love, love, love doing those calls with my community and where we go. And I said, Charmaine, it's just incredible. And here's the best part, it gets better. It gets better. You ain't seen nothing yet. What's possible for you? You like think about what you would love to have and multiply that by infinity. But that's not going to happen in a life in a being of indecision. That's not going to happen when we're operating from a childhood story. You've got to be powerful. You do it when you're scared, nervous. The time is going to go. So who are you being? Maria says, Hina, I know that if it's on my plate, I ordered it logically, but why would I have a hard relationship with my boss, which I admire so much? What is the belief that is holding back or creating the wrong story? I love that, Maria. In chapter 12, I believe Neville Goddard talks about this. So there's a story that you're creating around your relationship with your boss. So what I would do, Maria, like this is something that I would have to work on with you, or that I would bring in over a couple of sessions, even a couple of morning calls, not just one. But what I would say is that what you want to do is first decide, how do you want the relationship? How do you want to feel about the relationship with your boss? Because you've got to change your relationship to the relationship. And I've seen it happen, and this is so possible. This just happened recently. Well, it happens all the time, but I'm thinking of somebody in particular that has done this, that we've spoken about, where there was a relationship to certain people that they worked with, and the relationship to this relationship was that it was hard and that these people were always responding in a way. So we have to change the relationship to the relationship. Your boss doesn't have to change. So the first thing I would do today is I would think about, how would you love to feel about your boss? And then well, you're welcome to bring this in tomorrow as well, and to the Q&A call as well. The relationship to the boss is happening in our consciousness. We need to change our consciousness. Claire says, I am my own boss. I feel great about her. Give her a raise. Claire, give her a raise. Oh, give her a bonus. I think the company should buy her something. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love all of you. Yes, a Rolls Royce, the company car. Gosh, thank you for being here. Who will I see tomorrow on the call? Let me know if you're joining us tomorrow. And please remember to plan your morning tomorrow to stay a half an hour longer if you're not already a client. And this is just so you can see what is available to you. Just so you can see what's available to you, because you wouldn't be here on these calls if it wasn't something that you felt you were getting some value or benefit from. And so from 7 to 7:30, we'll open We'll open the doors to shopping, we'll open cart, so to speak, and I'll let you know the ways that we can work together if you wish. And then on Friday, and I think it'll probably go out, I'm sure my team will send something out about signing up for the Q&A call as well. All right. I love you all. Inner Circle, I will see you in a few hours. I'm really looking forward to that post Miami. And I will see you all here tomorrow. There was a question that came into me privately. Feel free to bring in that question on the Q&A if you would like, or bring it in here tomorrow even. And if I can, I will answer it. All right, everybody. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.